Yeah.
Um, so normally when I do English session like this, it's just more like asking for your help, and then maybe some of your favorite topic, and then I'll throw it to GPT, and then it generates some questions, and then we can participate in that question. So that is like I think more engaging for both of us. And
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have any specific topic that you want to talk about today, or we can dive into some of the question I got recently from some of the students? Also, by the end of our session, I potentially would need you to give me two questions. So, first question, just say you have one question you want to ask somebody else, but you're kind of afraid. I can be that guinea pig, and I'll ask the next person in the next session. The second question, you could think like the question that you want other people to ask you, but they never ask. So, kind of like that.
Yeah. About my favorite topics. Yeah. Currently,
Yep.
I don't have. I don't. Yes, maybe some topics about nutrition and health.
All right. Okay. So I'll just note that down. Nutrition. So let's say that because in the last two section, I didn't name I was not able to record a session, so I actually have four questions I need to ask. So how about we dive into that, and then we potentially come back to nutrition and health later. So the first question is, they give me some of the really hard question. Um, do you think you can change a serial killer behavior, or do you think a serial killer can become good? Do you know what the definition of a serial killer?
Can you type that word in the texting box?
Sure.
Serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you repeat your question so I could note that in my laptop?
So the question was, do you think a serial killer can become a good person?
Yeah, I was for this question. I would say a no, and it's brutally hard. And your serial killer usually isn't bad by accident. Like uh, their motivations are not triggered by situations in life. Most of them, like some famous serial killers throughout history, like Ted Bundy in America, uh, Jack the Ripper in London. I remember he is a serial killer of of women. They've built their identity around violence, like habits, their fantasies, or sometimes even just for pleasure. And many of them had a hard childhood. Uh, they maybe have been abused or mistreated by their family members, maybe their parents or other people in their family. So that's not just behavior, but that's a whole moral and psychological system. to change that is like trying to rebuild a house after it was burned down. And but for serial killers, if they generally feel guilty or remorse, they stop killing permanently, and spend the rest of their life trying to reduce harm and apologize to their victims. But I think serial killers still can still become a reform monster. Yeah.
Right. So what is your definition between good and bad?
About I think this is a very philosophical question, and
Mm,
throughout the history, many philosophers from the West to the East have been discussed about this topic. Uh, a student of Confucius, I don't remember his name,
mm,
said that people was yeah. Let me check this quote.
sure.
Yeah, a student of Confucius once said a famous quote that human nature is originally evil, while another student of Confucius also say human nature is originally that he said the opposite of that student quote, and in life. Sometimes you can always find the good in bad situations, circumstance, and the bad in good circumstance in peoples or things. And also, according to the Eastern philosophy, uh, there is an idea of balancing comes from the principle of yin and yang, which is belief that all things exist as inseparable and opposites.
Mm, mm,
But personally, I think there's still some that's something that we we have no other options but considering is bad, like murder, some war crimes like genocide, and
mm. Okay, I'm gonna give my answer in a really, really long form, but because of the way that you um, present your sentence, I'm gonna ask you a couple of more questions before I'll dive into that. Do you think that you always have a choice? Because like you give a definition, okay, good, bad, war crime. Because of some situation, people can see bad thing and a good thing. Because of those words, I'll ask you that question. So, do you think you always have a choice?
Yeah, no, especially for our people can choose your our childhood, our parents, our siblings, our trauma, and our brain chemistry. Some
Mm,
people are born uh, disabled, and that's a very bad luck for them. Uh, that they can choose it, they can choose whether they are healthy or they are disabled and can do basic things like other people. Um, Also, people can choose to have rich or poor parents, or whether uh, rich or poor family they are born into, uh, and also their countries and their neighbors. Um, and But when they grow up, a large percent of their background, like family or parents, will decide things that those people can achieve in their life.
mm,
So I think, yeah, people don't always have a choice, especially in that situations I've listed.
right. Okay. I'll come back with that. Okay. So now I'm gonna give you my answer regarding to this serial killer. So normally, one of the most highlight psychologies of a serial killer is they do not have sympathies. They So because of that, whatever they do not really care about other people' emotion. Doesn't matter what other people do, what they feel. So basically, on that aspect, I'm not gonna say that it kind of um, a defect by born because for some, let's say when you was born, you just know how to breathe in air and breathe out air just to survive, and you do not control it. Sometimes, yeah, when you like meditate, you pay attention to how you breathe in, breathe out. But most of the time, you let your body um, do that on their own. So they have the mechanical, some stuff like that. So similar to how the brain function of a serial killer works. So they do not have sympathy. And when we classify them as a serial killer, they have a kind of a enjoyment in killing people, right?
Yeah.
So that behavior is kind of like a disability. You cannot change it. There's some report they can change it, but it's really rare. But with that kind of behavior, you can't change it. So that might again, I'll just this in my point of opinion is not always true. So it really depends on how you take my word for it. Okay. So now get back to the conversation. Whether decide to kill a person is good or bad, it really depends. Right. So enable for you to survive. Let's say, let look kind of. Do you know a hawk? Hawk.
Yes.
Right. So normally when a hawk like they hatch from an egg, normally it try to push the other egg out of the nest of the bird. So it try to increase the survival of the bird. So normally the mom and dad hawk only feed that one child so to raise them in our mind, right? At the moment when we look at that, we're thinking that like that's bad behavior. That's not a good behavior. That is bad, right? So you just automatically apply to another child. So when another child, when they raise up like year 5, year 10, try to kill one of its siblings just to try to increase the survival rate of that child, you think that is bad. But again, take that back. We should look at the definition. That bird is just trying to survive. Is it good and bad? It's just we dictate whether it's good or bad. So now when you look at the similar, so when you look at the chicken, when chicken hatch, they don't try to kill its siblings, right? Just follow its mama to go around, eat, some stuff like that. You think that's a good thing, right? So I'm just trying to lead into whether you decide a good, how you define a good or bad. So it's really hard. So that also it kind of touching to a subject. Like I read a lot of the stuff, so like West theory, East theory is all from me. It all come down to the so normally you should have two ethical what dictate a good person or a bad person. A good person. So the first environment, the first thing that gonna dictate a person gonna be good or bad is either environment around you or the rule that being set out around you. So there's some set of rule that you're not allowed to do something like that. So if you do something, some of the thing that lists on this rule, you're a bad person. If you do whatever outside of the rule, you're not a bad person. Okay. And there also another set of rule that you set for yourself. So that why it's sometimes I think they have a song say that sometimes you do something good, but you feel bad. But when also there another time when you do something bad, but you feel good. Does that make sense? Yeah. So and to be honest, to answer your question, to dictate to decide a person a good person or a bad person, is really depend like on the environment that I'm growing up and another set of rules that I set for myself. Just look at that. So let's say a person that they try to selling drug, right? Right off the bat, that is good. That is a bad guy. Selling drug for this person, that person, like it collapse the whole society. But it would dig there. So there are another two aspects of that. If that person is selling drug just to have the money and enjoy his life, totally dickhead, right? Totally deserve to be shut off, get rid of out of the society. But let's say if that person selling drug just enough, just to get enough money, just to cure like illness for I don't know his son, his daughter, or her son, her daughter, or maybe grandmother, grandfather, whatever. Can you decide that person to be a good person or a bad person? Really complicated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you read in theory, different situation, but when you apply to real life, completely different situation. It's really fucked up. And sometimes I'm telling you, I'm not a good person as well. I'm not saying that because I'm saying no, I'm a good person. No, sometimes I don't think I'm a good person. In fact, if I'm going outside and I ask somebody, "Do you think you're a good person?" If that person answered to me right away, "Yes, I'm a good person," 99 or no, not 99, 90% of the time, I'll pay really careful attention to that person for some reason. So yeah, to decide a person is good or bad is really hard. See? And also, like, let's say, even in your family, well, your mom and dad always try to work really hard for you guys to have like really good life. So they sometimes they can go to jail. So in some countries, some of the parents willing to go to jail just so their children can have a really good life. It's like doing something illegal. So okay, so and I feel that I'm giving you the answer, like I'm not giving you any answer. Does that make sense? Sometimes it kind of like stuff up like fucked up with your mind. Also now I get back with the question that do you think you always have a choice? I think personally what I think you always have a choice because let's say you can always using your unfortunately environment as an excuse for you to not achieve anything like or something in your life. And I don't think that's a good mentality. well, of course, there's some people they've been born with disability, like some disadvantages. But let's say if that person keep blaming for their environment, like blaming they're not being born with enough body part. I forgot the good words that describe that, but like let's say if that person keep complaining that they was not being born with all of the body part of them, so that's why they're unsuccessful. If they just keep clinging on that idea, they never be successful and move up in their life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can give you a lot of example. I think uh, there are a lot of example right now, but I couldn't recall. If you want, I can do a quick Google search and then bring that up. And yeah, and there are also a lot of people they being born with like full body part, but they keep fail. And believe it or not, there's some child that being born in really rich family. Well, they don't. Sometimes they don't even need to work a single day in their life. And let's say if in the year of the mom and dad do not share the asset of the mom and dad equally to some of like the sibling, they're gonna have an issue, and the whole family gonna collapse, like fall apart because of that. But if they look into if they look into the outside, they already have a lot of money in the world. But because of like I don't know, short a couple of 100 million, I don't know, maybe less car, less a mobile phone, less a house, they just like no, I want fair and square, and they just keep fighting for that one. So it's not gonna go anywhere. So get back to my story. So I'm thinking that we always have a choice. It just really depends on your mentality.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Even in I think even in your parent, like there's some parent, even they born their child in poverty, they decide to raise their children. Some parent, and also there's some parent they decide to abandon their child, to throw it somewhere in the trash bin or something. But like they're also with both same parent, they're also in a really poor environment. Some parent they decide to keep raise their children. Some parent they decide to ditch them. That's that's just my opinion. Whether true or not, it's really up to you. Okay, so now, Jesus, one question and then we split it up to like 3 or 4 questions. Um, I got another question here. If you can change something in the past, what would you change?
Yes, I if I have the opportunity to change one thing in the past, actually I have many things now I consider that I was not enough decisive to follow it in the past. But
Mm,
the most recent thing is that I rejected invitation to join scientific research of my lecturer. Now he's
mm,
the vice dean of my faculty. When I
mm,
was a freshman, and now I'm currently a final year student, uh, and I'm going to do my internship and complete my graduation thesis to graduate. And
mm,
I decided to uh, send a text to my lecturer that I mentioned about that when I rejected him in the first year. And when I was only a freshman, I think that when we had an interview to decide who will be the person to receive the scholarship in the first year. So
Mm,
he the my lecturer maybe he saw the potential in me, and so
mm,
he decided to invite me. But at that time I was very shy, and I did not believe that I couldn't do it. And I think if I join his research team, I would I wouldn't do, and I wouldn't dedicate anything to the team. So I
mm,
rejected it. And but my the next semester result, and I was not bad as I thought. I always get the best, the highest grade in every semester in the university. So anytime I rethink about that invitation, I'm very yeah, I'm very regret. I regret that if at that time I accepted that invitation, I would follow a different way, not joining a club, and don't know what to do with my study and career, but follow the lecturer supervised. Uh,
mm.
and but now I'm still a student who has that lecturer as my supervisor lecturer for my thesis. I still always regret about that invitation.
Yeah. It sounds like you really miss out on that things.
Yeah.
Do you feel less shy now?
Yes. It's actually
I'm kind of feeling that too.
yeah, actually in the next semester, in the second semester of my first year,
Hmm.
uh, I'm only the student who get the highest grade in all the scholarships during my 4 year journey in my university.
Jesus, you make me feel sweating. I'm normally yeah. Anyway, you make me feel a bit nervous. Talk to like person that always got scholarship. I never got any scholarship. Um,
Yes.
so what changed? What changed? What helped? What helped you to change from a person that feel shy to a person that I think like I think you're more confident now, and you're willing to talk at length.
Yes.
Curious.
Actually, when I was a freshman, there was a entrance scholarship for students who got high entrance grade. And but the scholarship is only available if you maintain a GPA over 3.2 each
Mm,
semester. And
mm,
at that time, I was just graduated from my high school, and I at first I decided to apply for that scholarship, but then I read that constraint that you have to maintain a GPA over 3.2 each semester, and I thought that I could not ever reach that score. But
mm,
when I study uh, with uh, with hard work and effective way learning methods, I
mm,
my GPA at each semester is excellence above always above 3.6. And um, but at the time I didn't apply for that scholarship, so the scholarship was awarded to another student. But the second semester, that student, her
mm,
GPA is he failed she failed a course, and
mm,
that he she didn't got that scholarship anymore. So that was also a big regret in my university journey beside that invitation.
mm,
And um, in my after the first year, in the second year, I enjoyed a major club. My major is veterinary medicines. Yes,
Mm,
veterinary medicines, and that uh, besides holding seminar to enrich my knowledge and discuss with my students and my seniors, my friends and my seniors. I also have practical training about veterinary medicines. Uh, so I not my knowledge but my skills level up, and I had more relationship with seniors from different companies. And they also know me from the club.
mm,
So I had more opportunity to have practical experience at that they invited me, and that's why now I'm more confident than I'm much more confident than when I was only a freshman.
right. Okay, so now I think because you mentioned potentially you participate in some of the medicine or mathematical seminar.
Veterinary medicines, animal.
Medicine.
Yes.
All right, in animal. Jesus. I was like, oh, I was about to talk about IVF. Do you know anything about IVF?
Yes. IVF is only prevalent in cattle, like cows, because
Hang on. No, I mean IVF in human.
yeah,
No,
in human. Yeah,
yeah.
I also read some news and
Hmm.
on Facebook and other social media about IVF.
So what are your opinion about IVF?
Yes, I think IVF is a useful technique to help those who can have children on their own to get an opportunity to have children.
Hmm.
Um, and contrary to many people think that conception is created by God hands or other luck. I think is 100% just biological.
Hmm.
Conception only happens when the two female and male gametes um, join and formed a zygote and then an embryo and then finally a
Hmm.
child. IVF is just a technique that facilitate that procedure to happen more easily, especially that in people whose their reproductive system is has something like it's hard for them to have children in a natural way.
Hmm. Right. So the reason why I'm asking because last time I break down this process to another person, and obviously my first opinion about it is good at some point and also bad at some point. It good at some point is it help people maybe late in their life, in maybe in about like 40, 50, they try to have children, but I couldn't. But for any person before that, I don't think that going to be good for them because the IVF process is involve a lot of chemical being inject into your body and
Yeah,
not good. Um, and also based on because the person I try to explain asked me, and I tried to explain that to that person, and I'll dig into some of the study. Is actually there one person died because of the IVF process. Um, hang on, do you know about this? So like, I can talk more, so I'm not gonna like over detail this thing for you.
yeah, okay.
No, I just want to like whether you know more about this. or you have no idea at all, or you just know it briefly? Because it sounds like you know a lot about this.
Yes, based on things I've read on newspaper as well as social media, at first, even those who can have their children on their own can still do IVF,
Mm,
especially when they want a child exact gender like a boy or a girl. They
mm,
can also do IVF. So the woman will have to receive a lot of injections, chemicals in her body
mm,
sa- uh, uh, to so that their ovary to produce more eggs to so that they collect when they collect the eggs, and also the semen from the man,
mm,
and they do the conception in a in vitro environments.
mm,
Actually, I had a chance to witness that
mm,
procedure that we are injecting the sperm to the egg under the
mm,
microscope, but in cows, not in humans. But
mm,
I think the procedure is still the same mechanism between the IVF in cows and IVF in humans.
mm. Right. Jesus. So this, I thought that this session going to be a really easy going question back and forth, back and forth. But now, for some reason, I feel like I want to go a bit of like textbook, really dense information. So last time when I do research something like that, so let's say if you younger, let's say your age about like 34, if your age be like before 34, they not really recommend for you to do the IVF. Like if you do the IVF, so at the last day, so one of the dangerous step in doing IVF is the so at first you're gonna do at least I think it's 16 injection of blood checking from the period from the first time they inject I forgot the name, but it kind of push yourself like change like I think it's like enhance your hormone and then try to push yourself to generate a egg in your body, and then after that they keep injecting multiple hormone into your body. From my memory it's about like 14 injection, and then after a couple of days you have like blood checking. So when you check your blood sample, you have like draw it out this much, and then checking your for your hormone to see if whether it's good or not. And by the end, nearly the end of the stage, where the egg nearly mature for them to harvest, they inject two twice. There are two twice they potentially can inject to, but the most safest ways is to inject the hormone to harvest the egg, but it's only possible for you to fertilize the egg using the frozen embryo. The
Yeah.
one that inject to just like fresh fertilize with the embryo, I think it generate a higher chance of you become, from my memory, blood clot. So that was the cause of one of the case in India where she just keep like her belly just keep floating and then stop non-stop bleeding. I sent that message not long ago. Let me have a look. Right, okay. Right here. Right. So the one of the symptom I'm trying to say is OHSS. I try to explain in Vietnamese. I have like a Vietnamese version here. It's not actually English. OHSS là hội chứng quá kích buồng trứng dẫn đến sưng to, tích dịch trong bụng ngực và rối loạn tuần hoàn. Triệu chứng có thể từ nhẹ, đầy bụng, buồn nôn, khó chịu đến nặng, có trường hợp chết. Đó. So the case that being died is the case that happening in India. So it's kind of similar to how some people they um, try to operate some cosmetic in Vietnam. They inject something that they have a really severe reaction to that and they die and they not report to the health department. So those kind of is like the death is not being reported, kind of similar to this. And I think from the study that I read, that person died could be because they tried to selling their egg to some of the other person. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
this and the patient who passed away in India is like she was in her 23s. And now get back to the so the injection that I was trying to mention was um hex CGs or GnRH. The one that gives a higher risk is, let me have a look.
That
Right.
hormone
So yep.
is
So
there's that hormone you were mentioned is GnRH.
yep.
Is a hormone secreted by the hypothalamus. We also
Mm,
use that hormone very often in pig production as well as
mm,
cattle production.
yep. And from what I've been reading, so that is kind of the chance for you to get OHSS when you get injected by that is not is really giống như là, kiểu, nó lũy tuyến so với lại cái số trứng mà cái người phụ nữ đang có trong cơ thể, nó lũy tiến lên, cho nên là hổng phải là nó, kiểu, có một cái, hai cái thì nó lại sẽ lên hai cái mà nó tính lũy tiến lên, nó giống như, kiểu, tiền lời của ngân hàng vậy á. Thí dụ như nghe mà lần đầu khi mà bắt đầu rút trứng ra tiêm cái đó, xong lần sau tiêm cái là thêm thêm một cái procedure giống vậy nữa là nó nhân lũy tiến lên luôn, là nó cộng thêm những cái đợt từ đợt trước, nó carry forward qua đợt này luôn. Là cho nên là nó cũng khá là nguy hiểm. Right, okay, now get back to English because this is more really fucking scientific language. It's really
Yeah.
hard for me to explain in English. So, um, so I think the IVF is good at some state and it's not good at some state. And from my suspicious is for some reason IVF being promoted a lot lately, and I think it's really have to do with pharmacists or pharmacy trying to sell their drug and selling procedure. Because if you're looking at the the fertilize rate, successful rate, is always higher if you do it like live compare that you do into the kind of laboratory environment. And for some reason, I just keep hearing that. Also on the website is saying that some young girl they kind of losing egg at a really young age, which is not true. And a lot of false statement. I'm not sure whether they try to advertise for the IVF precision and they try to say some stuff like that because it's really rare for any female before, I don't know, 40 could be a bit exaggerated, but like for any female before 34 they're losing any egg, it potentially is not true. There is another reason why they don't let they lost their period because they use a lot of stuff like Frank, fragrant. I'm not sure that I say correctly. My apology. Giống như cái chất mà tạo mùi mùi thơm á, fragrant, cái chất bảo quản trong cái xà bông hoặc là thường thường anh không biết dạo này người ta còn ở Việt Nam có hay xài mấy cái bình mà hương á, mấy cái bình hương mà cắm vô tường để cho nó khuếch mùi á, hoặc là xài mấy cái hương mà nếu mà hương liệu tự nhiên không nói làm gì mà mấy cái hương mà hương nhân tạo á, bỏ cắm cái cây vô trong nó tỏa ra mùi á. When you breathe some of that stuff in, it suppress your hormone and it kind of send a false signal for your hormone trying to not release egg, and potentially you could um, not eat enough or you do not have enough nutrition. So potentially the thing that I'm talking about is CQ10s. So CQ10 is like it's more in animal herd. So normally, because nowadays the way that you're cooking and the way that people eating nowadays is not really compared to back in the day. Back in the day, they cook like they kill the animal, they cook it right away, so you have more compact nutrition. But now
Yeah.
it's more like processed food, and then the meat that you eat is not that good in quality, and you really eat meat that kind of selection. You not really eat meat in a more back in the day. You try to like you eat everything. You eat heart, you eat lòng, stomach, não rồi thì nó có rất là đủ chất. Còn bây giờ kiểu you kind of specialize in one specific type of meat and you neglect all of that other things. Because I tried to look in the past the the bird, right? Like how should I say it? The pandemic of people is hardly to get child at a really young age. Nowadays, it's not really popular back in the day, where you kind of do normal thing. You eat meat fresh and you eat quality meat, and you kind of balance your life. It's kind of um, cái từ gì quên rồi, giống như là cái hiện tượng của một cuộc sống hiện đại á.
What?
It's common right now, giống như là cái khả năng mà cái khả năng mà hai vợ chồng mà kiểu khó có con á, hồi xưa không có.
À,
Hồi xưa họ rất là dễ có con, còn bây giờ rất là khó có con. Nhưng mà thực sự nếu mà nhìn vô cái góc độ mà dinh dưỡng á, là tại vì hồi xưa là mình ăn đủ chất, kiểu không phải ăn đủ chất mà kiểu mình ăn đủ thứ đó. Còn bây giờ là kiểu mình ăn chọn lọc á, mình không có kiểu không có ăn lòng, không ăn gan, không ăn tim, mà không ăn những cái mà như hồi xưa mình hay ăn á. Mình kiểu vậy, giờ mình chỉ ăn thịt nạc thôi, mà kiểu thì giống như là you have a lot of veggie, right? Each veggie have a different type of nutrition to submit to, like when you eat that, is it kind of benefit for you in different way. If you eat tofu every single day without other mixer of veggie, it's not really that good for you. It's not going to give you enough nutrition. Similar to meat, if you just eat meat like it's just giống như thịt đùi hoặc là thịt bụng heo hoài á, thì nó rất là thiếu chất, cho nên là phải ráng ăn cho nó đủ. That's what I'm trying to say. So that why nowadays you have a lot of supplement. Supplement is also a good source of trying to boost like the lack of your nutrition, but you always try to eat the meat first, because normally you try to eat variety of meat. It have more nutrition. It is like it's not just really concentrate on the nutrition that you miss. It also have another nutrition from other things. It's like you have omega, um, no, vitamin is more like sunlight, zinc, magnesium, all sort of stuff. You get what I mean.
yeah.
This I bored the shit out of you. Nghe thì có
No.
chán không em? Nghe thì có chán không?
Topic này hay mà.
Uh, yeah. So yeah. This is why I don't really want to talk in depth about any of this stuff. Normally, it's really boring, unless you really into these topics. It's really easy for me to talk about. So yeah. Okay. Do you have any opinion from your side of view? Because I think you really heavily on more scientist side compared to me. I'm just reading the research. I do not hand-on practice, but that what I'm seeing from the study they submit online. And I don't think, and also another thing is like it's in Vietnamese. When you try to find some research about something, it's really hard. So like you have to search in English. In Vietnamese, I don't think they populate it like publicly for people to find. If I think if in Vietnamese, if you want to find good quality study or paper, you have maybe gone to library or something. It's really hard to search for it online, to like from my perspective, because I couldn't. When I first tried to research about these topics, Jesus Christ, it's really hard to find a good quality short on Google.
Yeah.
So, do you have
Yes.
any opinion?
Yeah. Actually, I find that is not important. It's not that important
Hmm.
for you to have an offspring. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have the tendency like other people that they put a lot of pressure on people on young people to get married and to have children.
Hmm.
The stress nowadays is that you may heard that, especially when the inflation rate is very high and on the price of necessities in our life
Hmm.
increasing fast. Young people have too much pressure, so that their parents, their relatives, or their neighbor always put pressure on them to get married quickly, to have children quickly, so that they have their grandparents to carry, to take care of. And I find that very, find
No, no. My
yeah.
apology. I was not really going to that path. What I think I did not mention it to you because some of the people I talked to in it, the reason why I explained to them is because they're watching some of the influencer on the website, YouTube or TikTok, whatever. The reason why I have to explain this because after they listen to some of those influencer, they afraid that if they do not store their egg now,
Yeah.
they could lose their egg forever, and then potentially they will not have the ability to have child forever. Does that make sense? So like, no, that bullshit. You shouldn't do that because the IVF, first, really expensive. Second, they inject a lot of chemical into your body, and it's not good. So that is the reason why I have to like explain all of this for the person to try to ask for me. Like, no, it's not true. Do not listen to them. It's bullshit.
Yes, so as I mentioned before, I only care about this topic in a scientific perspective, not a social perspective. And
Mm,
if you want to ask me about the scientific perspective, I would have nothing to say.
mm,
Mm, yes, my major is focus on animal reproduction. Yes, but yes, the mechanism and procedures may be similar, but in cows we do not
mm,
have modern equipments like IVF in humans. So I do not have a deep research on that. That there's procedures, their indications, and their side effect.
mm,
So to research more about this topic, I think I will need more time to understand more about IVF.
mm. But don't get me wrong, please don't get me wrong. I don't think it's like IVF sometimes it's good for like old person that they couldn't be able to bear a child. But because the thing that I'm trying to say is like some people they try to potentially spread false information and then like create fear among young people. Potentially, one of the tactics they trying to sell the IVF procedure. I'm not sure whether I should talk with you about this, like vaccine,
Yeah,
like COVID
vaccine.
vaccine. I'm not sure whether I should talk with you about this. Là ngứa mỏ lắm
Yes,
rồi,
yeah,
ngứa
I
mỏ
am
lắm rồi.
on topic. Mm, yes, I had a presentation to give to my lecturer last year about
Right.
vaccines technology in veterinary medicines field, and to sum up, there are six different technologies of manufacturing a vaccine, and there are many traditional techniques like inactivated vaccines or leaf attenuated vaccines.
Mm,
There, the pathogens like bacteria, virus are killed, or they are uh, they are alive but less
mm.
uh,
Less
pathogenic,
active, maybe.
pathogenic,
Right.
uh, and COVID vaccine are a new way of manufacturing a vaccine. They are mRNA, DNA vaccine. So I think uh, vaccine who were manufactured in traditional way, they have a long time of doing extensive research on.
Mm,
So I don't have any doubt about their effective as well. But COVID vaccine, a very new technique
mm,
that is and that technique isn't research enough, so it may have side effects. Uh, mm, but those anti-vaxxer on Facebook, they how can I say how can I say about those people? Uh, they and their children
mm,
they have the safety from community immunization
mm.
because of vaccine, but their opinions about vaccine are very yeah.
I think it really depends on what type of vaccine are you talking about because I have a different view of mRNA vaccine specifically for COVID-19. Oh shit, I'm not sure where I should talk with you about this. The reason why, I have no doubt in traditional vaccine though. I still have my belief in traditional vaccine. But for the mRNA vaccine, so a lot of research I'm reading is have like it give people micro blood clot. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yep.
I'm finding my presentation on that topic.
Yeah. Well, and that is the reason why when they rolled out, and then a lot of people die because of blood clot, they pulled it right away. And when I got my vaccine, I actually in Australia I got certificate. I'm not sure vaccine passport hả hay là passport vaccine ở Việt Nam ta gọi là gì?
Vaccine nhé.
Passport vaccine á, giống như kiểu mà khi em chích xong rồi nó có đưa ra em một cái tờ em đã chích vaccine rồi.
Yeah.
Right. In Australia, they go really heavy with it. They give me a certificate. It looks similar like driver license like that. It's like on my phone. It's like really it looked really fancy, right? But after the COVID vaccine rolled out, I think after a year or so, it have a lot of side effect. Normally, in my Medicare record, right, it should list out a bunch of what medicine I've got, what doctor I visit, what vaccine that are being given to me, right? So after they pull the vaccine from the market, the certificate that I got being wiped. Without my knowledge, they wiped the batch of vaccine that they gave to me.
Wow.
When I first got a vaccine, right, it give a document like in document in the government website. It tell me
Wow.
what batch that I get, what type of vaccine that I got, right? And before I got injected with a vaccine, I have to sign to the piece of paperwork. Giống như là giấy gọi là giấy đồng ý chịu chết á.
Đúng rồi. Ở Việt Nam cũng có.
Giống như ký giấy đồng ý what the fuck. Nhưng mà tại vì bên này á kiểu là nếu mà không ký giấy là sẽ bị đuổi việc, cho nên là
Wow.
phải phải đi chết thôi. Tại lúc đó là anh làm ở sân bay, nhưng mà kiểu không không chích, kiểu không chích vaccine là ok mày nghỉ việc. Thì đợt đó là nhiều người nghỉ việc lắm, kiểu tại vì so normally for the normal process of vaccine for enable for you to test it out without any side effect, normally the time gonna take at least about 5 years, right? This one it only tests about like within a year or so or two, and then it rolled out in a large scale. And undeniably, there are a lot of people die from it. And even like because of me, like black and white, they wiped the record of what vaccine I got and what batch was it. And like, are you fucking kidding me? Jesus Christ. But because I know about technology, I can check my record. My family don't. My auntie don't. So how do they know? You see what I mean? Like, it's just suspicious as fuck. It's like, no way. No way. And then after that, no, no. And then it's like my belief for the hell institution should go downhill from there. Is yeah. Anyway, anyway. So sorry, I'm sorry to bring it up, and I'm not sure whether I make you feel bad or not.
Yeah.
It's it's
Actually,
like
I'm a
that.
big fan of conspiracy theories,
Yeah,
and one
it's
of them is also about vaccine. That
mm,
uh, once I stalk the Facebook of some anti-vaxxer on Facebook, and I read some posts on their timeline
mm,
about conspiracy theories about vaccines, and as well as pathogens, that pathogens, all pathogens like bacteria, parasite, or virus do not exist, and Louis Pasteur was a liar. So I think yeah, many people have the same thoughts as you,
mm,
and we actually need to research more about that, when especially when they are related to our health and our family as well.
mm. And I'm not sure whether you follow with normally with this stuff I got it from American podcast. So all of those, a lot of those come from certified. I mean, I'm not sure it's certified. It's like more professional in health. Um, in health career, like doctor, scientist, all of that. So I'm kind of after I listen to them, really makes sense, and then after that I do a research on my own. Like, oh Jesus Christ, they saying things. It's true. So don't get me wrong. There's some good vaccine. I'm just saying that this particular vaccine is not good. And also, when I first tried to research the side effect of it in the government website, it doesn't list side effect though. And even it's also saying that mRNA is not gonna alternate your DNA. No, like in even in the government health website, no, the mRNA vaccine not going to alternate your DNA. That's full information. No, it actually alternate your RNA. It alternate your DNA. Yet it is. But like for you able for you able to dig up those research in theory, you have to dig it up deep because some pharmacy they kind of work along with Google as well, and the Google they work with pharmacy, and they work with the government as well. So when you try to type something, you search something on Google, it really depends on what information they want you to see. So if you really want to search that, you have to change the browser. The browser that I'm using at the moment, I'm using Brave, so it actually is not really suppress um, good side and bad side. Does that make sense? It just if you put in there, gonna show up what people try to say what's appear. It's not actually trying to redact information. It's not gonna filtering out the information that you want to look. It's not gonna filtering out some information bad for the government or good or promote information that good for the government. So it in their algorithm. So sometimes it pisses me off. So now when I'm trying to search something, I'm using Brave to search for it. But if I want to shopping, yeah, I'm gonna use Google. Google pretty good with Google Shopping. Mm. And nowadays you even have AI. AI, Jesus Christ, it's Google on steroid. So I'm using ChatGPT and I use Crook. I'm using Perplexity, combine all of that because even in ChatGPT they kind of suppress people idea as well. Like it sometimes give you false information, and it also suppress information that you're trying to searching for. It's like, dude, conspiracy theory. No, it actually happens. And that wasn't. No, come on, dude, don't do that to me. Yeah, so sometimes you can't be lazy. You have to like being active of it. Yeah, to search for this stuff. Jesus Christ, 8:10 already. It's I'm sorry, in my time it's already 8:10. I'm not sure what time Vietnam is, about an hour and 5 minutes.
5 p.m.
Yeah,
Nearly 5 p.m.
it's already an hour. Okay. Anyway, do you have any questions